Hi there, it's Bibi Cameron here. Welcome to another video. Today I will be sharing with you a very easy technique to add colors to stamped images and give them an extra special watercolor look and feel. This technique is called layering color. All I'm going to do here is apply a layer of color. I'm going to allow it to dry and then I'm going to apply another layer of color on top. Let me show you a couple of examples. To make this card here, I apply layers of the same color to each individual umbrella. I apply more color here and there so I could get some shadowing and some color intensity. And to make this card, I apply layers of different ink colors. To apply this technique for card making, all you need is your water-based inks, a brush or a water brush, and watercolor paper. And your stamps as well. I cannot forget the stamps. So I'm going to use today this stamp set here. This is called a Special Reason by Stampin' Up. And the image is bold. You just see it's completely bold. But you can also use any stamp you have. You can also use those stamps that are only the outline of the image, like this one here. And I will be showing you how to do that in the next video. Today I will be using the same shades of colors for the flowers, and for the leaves I'm going to mix a little bit. I'm going to start by using Crushed Curry ink from Stampin' Up to stamp one flower here. And I'm also going to create two masks just by stamping on a post-it note like so, and I'm just going to use my scissors to trim them. Okay, so I'm going to use one of the masks to cover the flower here, and I'm going to use this time mustard seed distress ink to stamp the second flower. I just want to show you that you can do this with any water-based ink you have. Don't worry if you don't get this right. I got a big gap between the flowers, but it doesn't matter. The watercolor is very forgiving and I'm going to fix that later. Then I'm going to use the second mask. I'm going to place it like so, and then I'm going to stamp the leaves. And we are done with the stamping. And as I said before, do not worry if your images are not perfectly stamped. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of water on my glass mat. This is just a drop of water, as you can see. And I'm using today this brush. This is a round tip brush. It's very soft. The hair is very soft. You can use any brush as far as the hair or the fibers of the brush are soft. You don't want a stiff brush to do this. And all you have to do here is to apply the water inside each individual petal. You have to be very careful because if you apply water over two petals in a row, you are going to blend those petals together. So just be careful and apply water just inside the lines of each petal. So the first layer of color could be also clear, which is just water. This could be good enough to finish your project. So by applying water, you just can finish this image. But we are going to take it to the next level. Okay, so now I'm going to apply water to the flower I just stamped with distress ink. And I'm going to apply some of that yellow ink between the flowers. You can see there, I just start filling that gap. I'm going to clean the brush and I'm going to use another drop of water to add a wash of clear water on the leaves, like so. Then I'm going to allow this to dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to use the same ink colors I used to stamp the image to add a layer of them exactly in the same way that I did with the water. I'm going to work petal by petal and leaf by leaf. If you see, I'm not touching those white spaces in the image with the water or with the ink. This is very important to keep the shape of the petals. As I apply a little bit of extra water there, I can use a heat tool, like so, in the front of the image and in the back to keep the paper as flat as possible. And then I'm going to apply another layer of color, but this time I'm going to use a contrasting color. This is a kind of orange ink. You can use any similar color, and all I'm going to do is apply a little bit of water, and I'm going to mix it with the ink like so, and I'm going to apply it on each petal where the petal starts and also at the top of the petal. You can see better here what I'm doing. As simple as that, and I can drop some color on the lips like so, and I dry everything with a heat tool, or I just leave it dry naturally. So this image is not looking quite right, don't worry. Now I have a trick to make this quite a bit more even, or the color more even, keeping the shadows and the contrast. So I'm going to add a wash with clear water or with a bit of ink all over the petals again, and that's to blend those orangey patches with the whole color of the petal. I want to soften those patches of color, and again being very careful of not applying extra water and keeping the water inside each petal. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the lips. I'm going to use the same ink color I used to stamp the image, and using a little bit of water. As we are working with light inks, we are going to be always able to see the layers of ink we applied before. And I repeat, it's important to allow the ink to dry before applying another layer of ink. Then something different is going to happen if we apply a layer of a darker ink. It could be scary, but we need to apply this kind of inks to add shadows and more interest. I'm going to use this dark green called Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to apply here in the base of the lips and on one of the sides of the lips. I'm not thinking really when I'm doing this. Okay, I put down that scary dark green color and I'm going to dry it. Then I'm going to apply a light color on top just to soften it, to try to blend it, to try to pull those seams all together. I don't know how to say that in English, but if you see, by applying a lighter ink on top of that dark ink, we just soften it a little bit. Another thing I do to add color to this kind of compositions is applying dry brush on dry paper, like so. You see it creates that kind of thick strokes that you can see on top of all those layers of color. All you have to do is to dry the brush and apply the ink directly from the ink pad. And then you create like that fancy shadow there. You have to excuse me because my English is terrible. You might be able to understand me, but I'm not capable to express myself as I do in Spanish. So it's difficult for me. So you can just apply dry brushes of ink here and there also on your images. You give them a quite of artistic look, and then you can add light by dropping color like that. I'm applying an orange ink. It's called Peekaboo Peach. It's Stampin' Up as well. Or you can also use any orange ink you have. I like to apply orange ink to the lips. All we need to do is to wait for that green ink to dry, and then we can apply this color. Even though the green ink is dry, you can see that when applying this orange ink, I'm reactivating that green ink. We have to be very careful because at the end we can just mix all together and we are going to get brown patches. And talking about that scary brown color, I'm going to apply it now. And if you see, I'm going to see the direction of that flower, which is like that. and I'm going to trace some lines like so in that direction, and I'm going to do the same with this one, which is facing down. Let's say that it's facing down, and I'm just doing this. I'm going to allow that to dry, and then I'm going to do it again and again. You see this very quick because I'm speeding the camera, but in real time I allow the things to dry. And then I'm going to do exactly the same that I did with the orange ink with the brown. I just noticed that my camera wasn't filming when I applied the brown ink in the flower at the top, but I'm going to repeat that here in this flower here. So all I do is grabbing the brown ink, and I'm going to go all over the edges of the petal, and you will notice that little by little now the white spaces between the petals is going to be filled with this brown ink. Just going to add a little bit of water, and please pay attention what I'm doing here. It's just going all over those edges randomly as well. I will do in some of them or in all of them, like so. Look. I made a mistake here and I elongate this petal. So I'm going to fix it anyway. So all I do is just go over like that, and I just fill it with brown. It doesn't matter. You will barely see that. Don't you think so? It looks like a shadow anyway. So now with this ink, what I'm trying to do is give some definition to the image. Perhaps I'm overdoing it a lot today, but as this is not a science, it's fine. Just enjoy and relax. It doesn't have to be perfect. Something I want to share with you as well is that I found that this ink is vintage photo. It was the first ink I got from Ranger, and it's just so beautiful to add shadows to this kind of words. It's a kind of brown, translucent, and it's just nice. When it dries, it just completely pull everything together. And what I'm doing here is, if you remember, this flower has some, between the petals, there were white lines that before were defining those petals. But now I want them to be brown. So all I have to do is just go and trace them and fill those spaces with brown ink. I'm also going to drop some of this ink in the leaves here and there. Okay, here there is another tip. I went too dark on my leaves, so I'm going to drop clear water and I'm going to lift the color. I should be able to see the previous layers of color there. So if you see, my leaf is going to get immediately a lighter color, and I'm going to get rid of that dark. You could also do this on purpose to create that kind of translucence effects on your compositions. So you can add layers of color, then apply water and lift it, and you will see all the degradation of color underneath. That's pretty cool as well. I'm going to play some music now so you can see how I finish this image. You might be wondering if you can use your aqua painters to apply the layers of color. The answer is yes, you can use them. but you might need to apply just a little bit of water inside the aqua painter to avoid excess of water on your work. What happened with the aqua painter is that you don't have the same control on the water application that you have with the brush. You know, we are working with a tiny amount of water here. So if you have your aqua painter slightly wet, that will be okay. I keep applying more layers of color until I reach that softness or the color I want. Remember, I have to apply a little bit more brown in the petals just to show you how I did that. And perhaps I have to soften that because it was too much, but it's fine. The watercolor is very forgiving, so you can just go with as many layers of color as you want. Once this is finished, I like to apply a little bit of glitter, and I use Wink of Stella. And a while ago, Tonic Studio sent me these Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pens, and I have to say that they are quite amazing. They come two in the package, and the price is almost the same than one Wink of Stella. So I just wanted to share that with you. I also got from Tonic Studios these Nuvo Aqua Flow brushes. And I also have to say that I love them. They have a very thin tip, and they also have a non-drift valve. I have to write it on the screen because I don't know how to pronounce that. But there is inside the body of the aqua painters, they have a little device that controls the water flow. So it's very easy to work with them as well. And they work as fine as Stampin' Up! Aqua Painters. Here in my right, I have Stampin' Up! Aqua Painters, and these two here in the left are the Nuvo ones. So the blue ones with the blue body are the Stampin' Up! And the translucent are Nuvo. So you can see also the difference in the tips of these aqua painters. So that's all I wanted to say as well about aqua painters. It occurs to me that that would be an information that could be somehow helpful for you. And now I'm going to apply the shimmer on these flowers. As the inks can reactivate and bleed a little bit with the ink of this pen, I start applying the shimmer on the lighter areas of the image and on the darkest at last. And this is the result. And another finishing touch here, because I was feeling that the flower looks a little bit flat and it needs a little bit of light and extra detail, I just grab an Uniball pen and I just add some dots and lines here and there. I also add some lines here in the lips, like so with the Uniball pen. And also some dots here and there. And we are done with this image. You can also add some shadow behind, some colors around, but I'm going to leave it just like that. And as I don't have stitches dies for many different shapes, now I'm going to show you how I add stitches to my cardstock. I simply use a sewing machine and I allow the machine to do the work. The only thing I do is to guide the paper and I stop in the corners, move the paper, and I keep going. It's like magic. So many people say that they cannot sew straight, but the reality is that the machine sews straight itself. You don't need to do it. It's the machine which is going to do it. So if you see here, I'm not lying. Okay, that literally the machine do it for you. Now I'm going to cover this edge here because I really don't like it. So I'm just going to paste my panel on a card base made out of Whisper White cardstock. This is thick Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to cover that with a banner. How many times I have tell you that I cover mistakes with banners? Not always, but many times. So I'm going to paste this time a white banner. Some people say, oh, Bibi, I like the black banner. Yes, the black banner is nice. If you see, there is a black banner for you there if you want to. It looks pretty nice, but I'm going to paste a white one today. Okay, and I'm going to go up. I'm going to put the camera up so you can see how I finish this card, and that's all for today. I honestly think that this video is very long, but I just want to add a lot of details. Also trying to explain you and showing you that you can do this. Oh my goodness, and I almost forgot. This sentiment here is from a stamp set that I got for free. Stampin' Up sent it to me. Is this stamp set here? It's a hostess stamp set, and it has amazing sentiments. These beautiful sentiments just for banners. This one here, this sentiment, is from this stamp set here by Hero Arts. So now I'm just going to paste the panel on the Whisper White thick cardstock base, and I will be done. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, visit my blog for more ideas or inspiration, or let's keep in touch. I'm on Pinterest, Instagram, and I have a Facebook group to share stamping adventures. All the links are in the video description. Thank you very much for watching and happy crafting. And stay tuned, I will be showing you how to make this card using Adore You stamp set by Altenew. Bye!